Why do we listen in stereo? Okay, it's from Bob in Lowood, Queensland, Australia. Hey Paul, when I go to a music festival or a concert at a football stadium, I presume the music coming out of the right-hand stack is the same as the left-hand stack, also the bins at the different angles. In other words, we're listening to mono. I figure this because if you're sitting on, say, the far left of the venue and it was stereo, you wouldn't get a full mix from the front house mixing guy. If this is true, why do we listen to stereo at home? Would it not be better to listen to one speaker costing twice as much as one of a stereo pair? Same goes for a monoblock compared to a stereo amp. Love your videos, Bob. Well, thanks, Bob. That's a pretty good question. You know, for years people listened in mono, and today I still know a diehard group of people who believe mono is far superior to stereo, always has been, always will. They don't buy into the stereo imaging. I have a good friend in Hong Kong who has some of the best vintage mono speakers in his home, and I gotta say, I've been to his home, I've listened to him, and there is a certain charm to mono. Make no mistake about it. Anywhere you walk in the room, it sounds the same. You don't have to worry about the stereo imaging and all of that. So there is something to mono, guaranteed. And as far as whether or not concerts are strictly monophonic, I think most of them are actually stereo. One of the first stereo concerts I heard was actually a quadraphonic presentation, which was pretty wild. This was back in the early 70s at the first time that Pink Floyd ever played Dark Side of the Moon. And I was at a concert in Germersheim, Germany, an outdoor festival. And they got up on stage and they had surround speakers, there were speakers, it was like quadraphonic. It was in back and in front, and they went up on elevators, and boy, there was sound going everywhere. It was wild, it was amazing. And a lot of the concerts I go to are definitely stereo. I definitely hear a guy over here on the left and I hear a guy over here on the right. So I don't know that that's actually true, but I don't think that goes to the heart of your question, because indeed, most of what we hear at a concert, whether it's a small venue or a big venue, is in fact pretty much mono. So, I don't have a great answer, except that, remember, most of what we listen to is not actually just live concerts. They're people in a room playing music. They are a large symphonic orchestra. They're a small quartet. And if our goal is to reproduce as closely as possible the sound of that live event, then a mono speaker kind of gets in our way. Why is that? Well, here's the thing to remember. Even though you're at a concert and you're hearing sound from the stage in mono, you got two of these guys. And they are stereo, whether you like it or not, okay? And as you're sitting there, and if you were to close your eyes and listen, you're hearing cues from the left, and you're hearing cues from the right, you're hearing cues from behind you, above you, below you, in front of you. 360 degrees surround, courtesy of the stereo of your ears in your head, right? And if you were to block one ear, just cover it up, now you're hearing in mono. Try it sometime when you're at a concert. It sounds awful. It's not a true experience. So in my view, even if you're listening to a mono source, here, I mean, look, if a guy's standing, I'm mono, right? I'm sitting here talking to you mono. But if you were listening to me, in this room, you'd be hearing me in stereo because of the room, because of all the cues being picked up that makes it sound like I am actually in the room. Very hard to do in mono, a lot easier to do in stereo. And so I think at the end of the day, that's the answer to your question, that we listen in stereo even to mono sources. And if the experience that we want to recreate with our stereo systems is that of actually being at an event, be it a mono event or a stereo event, we would be much better served to have as close a recreation of what our ears are hearing or able to hear as we possibly can. And that, my friend, is called stereo. All right. Thanks. I will talk to you tomorrow. All right. Bye-bye.